when you left the mayor's office and you had your eyes on the next big office in the state?
Well, so I left at the end or the beginning of 2018 after 12 years. I was ready to leave. That was the first decision I made was that it was 12 years of service, and it was great. But I don't think those positions should be they're not life tenures. They should you should get in there, do what you wanted to accomplish, and then know when it's time to move on. So that was the first decision, and I was comfortable with that. The second part of the decision to run or not to run for governor, really, it wasn't. The decision was to make, was not to be governor. It was to do your best to try to become governor and to give it your all. And so when you take it from that perspective, and you don't have your whole, future ahead of you wrapped up in the outcome of that, it gives you some freedom. So you go in there, you work hard, you accept the outcome, whether you win or you don't win. And the problem in politics, it's a zero-sum game. You go into business and you could do poorly, you could do moderately well, you could do incredibly well, but there's a continuum. In politics, you either win or you lose.
Right.
And so you have to accept that that's part of the game.
Yeah. So at that point, you had to reassess what's next. So talk with us a little bit about how you approached that decision.
Well, the first thing I did was I stole my wife's car. I had 12 years. I had a city car, so we were down to a one-car family, and it's a terrible thing for a real estate agent to not have her car. So she was a little less accepting of that. And I just went on a trip by myself. I drove out west. I spent some time with friends in Montana and Utah and California, and just spent a lot of time just contemplating what was it what was that next phase? What would that look like? And by the time I got back and Connie and I were talking, it just became clear that I wanted to be a part of something that was still kind of in the public realm, where I was at the center of an important issue. But I didn't want to just be in a think tank. I didn't want to just think big thoughts. I wanted something where you could actually have a direct impact. And so when the position at Habitat for Humanity came along, I thought, what an incredible blending of those two things. Being at the table, talking about the important issue of affordable housing in this community, but not just talking about it, actually picking up a hammer, building a house, turning it over to a family, and knowing that you're changing that family's life.
Yes. So how did you resist the draw from other people? Right, because I'm sure a lot of people said, "Oh, Chris, you should do this. You should do this. What about this?" How did you assess those options and kind of tap those people down so you could stay clear on what you ultimately want to do?
Well, you take the advice that you're given. People are trying to be helpful, and I had a good friend who has 1,000 other better things to do than worry about my life. Who drew up 20 different thoughts that he had about what I should be looking at or what I should be doing, and I was incredibly grateful for it. It wasn't necessarily even I was grateful for the list that he gave me, but at the end of the day, any advice that you give, you have to know yourself. And you have to know that, while that other person may be very well intentioned, they're filtering it through their lens. They're filtering it through who they are and who they perceive you to be. You're the only person that ultimately can make that decision about whether this is the right fit or this is the right direction.